Hi to everyone, I'm Swati, I'm your host for today's session and welcome to our very first Facebook gardening workshop. I'm really glad that you have joined today's session and we will cover few topics today which are basically the basics of gardening. We will cover the points like how to select a plant, how to choose a pot for your plant, how to prepare its potting soil and its watering habits, repotting, how to repot your plant, pest control, plant's dormancy period and plant's grooming. So we will cover all these points. Alright, so let's begin with the session now. So when we think of gardening or when we talk about gardening, what all we need or what all comes to our mind? We think of a plant, of course. For gardening we need a plant, we need a pot and we need garden soil or potting soil, right? So here comes our very first point, which is choosing a plant or plant selection, which is really important when it comes to gardening. How? Let me tell you. See, sometimes what happens, we look at the plant while scrolling through internet or on Facebook groups or somewhere. We really like the plant and we go ahead to the nurseries and we buy it. Whether we buy it online or we buy it through local nurseries, or sometimes when we visit to hill stations or we go to some other city, we buy plants from there also. It's very important to understand the basic requirements of plants, like plant sunlight requirements, watering requirements and favorable conditions to grow, right? So when you buy a plant, you need to do some basic research on that plant. Go and check in your garden how many hours of sunlight your garden gets, your balcony gets or your terrace garden gets. Suppose if your garden or your balcony gets 3 hours of sunlight and you're planning to grow a plant which needs full sunlight, which is more than 6 hours of sunlight, right? So if you grow that plant in your balcony where it gets just 3 hours of sunlight, it won't thrive no matter how much effort you are putting in to growing that plant, right? So it's really important to have basic idea or basic knowledge about plants requirements. So do some research. For example, you can say like mangoes can grow almost everywhere in India, almost in every part. Different varieties of mangoes can grow, right? But you cannot grow apples everywhere, right? You cannot grow cardamom or other spices or cashews everywhere. They need specific weather conditions, right? So it's really important to do some research on the plant and then buy that and then add that plant to your balcony or garden. Now coming to the second point, which is choosing a pot. There are a variety of pots available, right? You will find clay pots, plastic pots, ceramic pots in different shapes and sizes. Why do we prefer using clay pots? Because they are porous, they hold moisture for longer and that helps in keeping your potting soil and roots cool for longer. So that is good if you go for this clay pots. But again, you can always go for plastic pots, good quality ones, right? What are the benefits of going for plastic pots? It is not that heavy in comparison to the clay pots or ceramic pots. Also, it makes it easy to shift it from one place to another. So basically you can choose any type of pot that fits into your budget. And again, it depends, like sometimes we think we will grow plants in ceramic pots because it looks nice. That's correct. But if you are planning to grow indoor plants, then I would suggest, alright, you can go for ceramic pots. But if you are planning to grow something which needs full sunlight and you have to keep your pot in full sunlight for whole day, then I will not recommend growing them into ceramic pots, because ceramic pots get heated by sunlight and that heat gets transferred to the roots of the plant. But the most important point here that comes into picture is always look for a pot which has good drainage hole. So you can choose whichever pot fits into your budget according to the plant you are growing, but make sure there is a good drainage hole, so that in case if you water your plant with excess water, that excess water can get drained off through the drainage hole. So now we have covered how to choose a plant, how to choose a pot. Coming to the third and very important point, which is preparing potting soil, because potting soil can really make a big difference in your plant's health and growth. So basically, what is potting soil? Potting soil is the media in which we grow plant. It can be different for different plants. For vegetable containers, potting soil should be different. For indoor plants, it's different, and for succulents, it's different. So I will show you for each variety how to prepare potting soil. So here I have 50% garden soil. So I am going to show you how to prepare potting soil for your vegetable container. So here I have 50% garden soil. When we talk about garden soil, it is the normal soil which is available in your area. You can just simply dig into your garden, and that soil that you get is called as garden soil. It can be different in color and texture, because normally in southern India we get red soil. In North India we get sandy soil. At few places we get black soil. So it varies from place to place. So we need 50% garden soil. We need 25% compost. It can be anything, be it vermicompost or cow dung manure. So you can take 25% of compost. Then the third ingredient is we need coco peat. So what is coco peat? Coco peat is basically the powdered form of coconut husk or coconut coir. It's a very good media for holding moisture into the soil. Also, it makes your potting soil soft, fluffy and airy. Also, it makes your potting soil lightweight. So we need these three ingredients: 50% garden soil, 25% compost, 25% coco peat, and for vegetable garden you need some amount of neem powder. This is neem cake powder. It's available in different brands. This acts as a very good pest repellent. So you need some amount of neem cake powder also. This acts as a very good pest repellent. Also, it's a natural fertilizer and it helps in developing roots of the plant. When we talk about what quantity we need, if you are growing vegetables in medium size pot, you can take around 50 grams of neem cake powder. If you are growing your vegetables in big container, you can take about 100 grams of neem cake powder. So mix it well and your perfect potting soil for your vegetable container is ready. Now, if we talk about how to prepare potting soil for your indoor plants. Indoor plants means those plants that you keep inside your house, and those plants doesn't need lot of sunlight. They don't grow in full sunlight. What happens if you grow your indoor plants in full sunlight? The leaves will start burning. So for indoor plants potting mix, you need equal amount of garden soil and coco peat. So let's say you take 2 parts of garden soil, 2 parts of coco peat and 1 part of compost. Again, you can take anything, be it vermicompost or cow dung manure, but I always recommend going for cow dung manure, well decomposed cow dung manure for all kind of plants, whether you are growing vegetables, indoor plants, anything, flowering plants, ornamental plants, anything. So you need to take 2 parts of garden soil. You can just note it down. 2 parts of garden soil, 2 parts of coco peat, 1 part compost and a handful of perlite. What is perlite? This white substance you might have seen if you buy plants from nurseries. You might have seen this white thing in the soil, right? So this is perlite. This is very soft, very lightweight, and it makes your potting soil porous. It holds the moisture. Also, it helps in making your potting soil well drained. So you can mix a handful of perlite into your potting soil for indoor plants. Also, If you are preparing your potting soil for hanging baskets for plants like ferns, or let's say for money plant, or those plants which need more of moisture, more of water, so you can increase the amount of coco peat into it. As I discussed earlier, coco peat helps in holding or retaining the moisture into potting soil for longer. Also, it makes your potting soil lightweight. Alright, so this is how you have to prepare your potting soil for indoor plants. Now if we talk about how to prepare potting soil for succulents. For succulents, you don't need garden soil. You will need river sand. These are also available online, maybe in nurseries also you will get it. Take 2 parts of river sand, and please don't take beach sand, that white sand, because it has high content of chlorine, which is not good for plants. So always take river sand. Choose 2 parts of river sand. I hope it's visible in the camera. Choose 2 parts of river sand, 2 parts of compost. Again, anything is okay. And 1 part of coco peat. Right. So 2 parts of river sand, 2 parts of compost, 1 part of coco peat, and you can mix some amount of perlite into it. This is optional, it's not a mandatory step, but if you wish, you can mix some handful of perlite into it. Mix it well and your potting soil for succulents is ready. So this is how we have to prepare potting soil for our plants. So now we have covered how to choose a plant, how to choose a pot, and how to prepare potting soil for your plants, for different plants. Now coming to another important topic, which is repotting. So basically, what is repotting? Repotting is basically shifting or transferring your already potted plants to a bigger size pot with fresh potting soil. So what you need to prepare fresh potting soil. Like I told you how to prepare, it depends on the variety of plant you are growing, right? Prepare a fresh potting soil and choose a big size pot with good drainage hole, and you can just take out the plant from the existing pot, loosen its roots, and if there are many roots, you can trim them and then grow them in the bigger size pot. So when do we do the repotting? Generally when we buy a new plant, right? Whether we buy a new plant from a local nursery or online, or sometimes when we visit hill stations or other cities, we buy plants from there also, right? So it's always recommended, as I said earlier, it's always recommended to delay a plant's repotting for about 4 to 5 days. No matter from where you bought the plant, whether you bought it from local nursery, online, or from some other city. Keep your plant in partial shade for few days. Water it normally. Let the plant get adjusted to your weather conditions for few days, and then do the repotting how I told, in the same way, right? You have to prepare the potting soil, choose a big size pot with good drainage hole, and do the repotting. But do we do the repotting to our already potted old plants also, the existing ones, old ones? If yes, in what conditions? Right? It's not like only newly bought plants needs repotting. Our old existing pots and plants also need repotting from time to time. But how will we know that these plants need repotting? It's not like, after every 1 year you start repotting to all your existing pots. No. Your plants will give you some signals, or they will show you signs that they need repotting. What are those signs or signals? One is your plant will outgrow the pot. that means your plant will look way more bigger than the pot size it's growing. The second thing is the pot is full of plants. Like you can see this plant. This is a spider plant, and it looks like this plant needs repotting because it's full and there is not enough space for it to grow further, right? So in many cases, what you can do while repotting your plants, you can divide them from roots and you can grow them in so many different pots. You can basically multiply them while repotting. And the third point, when your plant gives you a signal that I need repotting, is roots will start coming out through the drainage hole because there is not enough space in the pot to for the roots to grow further, to spread further. So they'll start coming out through the drainage hole. Especially in hanging baskets, if you have a fern growing in the hanging basket, you might have seen the plant starts growing out through the drainage hole. All right, so these are the situations. And apart from that, another very important signal that you get from few plants is the plant looks pot bounded, or lots many roots will grow inside the plant, and you need to do the frequent watering to the plant. Plant is not growing properly, it will look stunned and leaves will look yellow. So that is another situation when your plant needs repotting. When we talk about root bound or pot bound, what is that situation? So let me just show you. Like this plant, I was about to repot it yesterday, then I thought I will show you. You can see how roots have come all the way up to the soil. I hope it's visible to the camera. When I took it out, I could see the roots all over, and the roots took the shape of pot. If I just take it out, maybe you will get more idea. This is asparagus fern growing in the railing planter. Yeah. So I hope it's visible. You can see how roots have grown up and all the way into the soil. So this is the situation when your plant needs repotting. This is called as pot bound or root bound situation. So as I said earlier, all you need to do is you have to just remove the plant from the pot, trim its roots, loosen the soil, prepare fresh potting soil and repot it. Also, there are few plants which have a tendency of getting root bound or pot bound, like jade plant, aloe vera plant, snake plant, fiddle leaf, spider plant and ficus. So these are few plants, you need to keep an eye on these plants if they are growing in the same pot for more than 1 year. So this is what is called as repotting, and again you cannot do the repotting in every season. You have to look for favorable weather conditions, like when the plant is at its growth stage, especially in monsoon season and spring season, February to March. So you have to do the repotting during these seasons only, not in hot weather like in May or June. Alright, so we have covered a couple of points like pot selection, plant selection, then we have discussed about how to prepare potting soil and repotting methods. Now coming to another point, which is watering. That is also very important point because it determines the health and growth of your plant. If you overwater your plant, they will get rotten. If you underwater, its growth will get affected, right? So the first and very important thing that comes to our mind when we talk about watering is always water your plants after checking the soil. Just poke your finger into the soil for about half to 1 inch deeper, and if the soil is sticky, you don't need to water it. If it comes out dry, then you have to water it. Underwatering is always okay, but 90% plants get killed because of overwatering. So you don't have to overwater. Now if we talk about what are the methods of watering plants, so it depends where you're growing your plant, right? So let's say you have a balcony where you have around 10 to 15 or 20 plants, or you have grown your plants on terrace, you have a nice terrace garden. So for balconies or terrace, drip irrigation method is the best technique these days, highly effective and efficient with no water wastage. You can go for drip irrigation system. Drip irrigation kits are available online, you can buy them. But if you have a lawn or garden, you will use pipe or garden hose for watering your plants, right? But when we talk about how to water your indoor plants, for watering your indoor plants, you will need either mug or watering can. This is watering can. So you can water your indoor plants with watering can or with mug, bucket. For watering your hanging baskets, you can choose putting few ice cubes into the hanging baskets. This will slowly release the water, it will slowly melt and it will evenly spread into the pot. So when we talk about other methods of watering, what you can do is you can do the misting over your big leafy plants. Like if you have fiddle leaf, or this is here I have bird of paradise, heliconia plant. So you can do the misting also with spray bottle. If you have to water your terrariums, you can use spray bottle. Never water them with watering can or mug. And whenever it rains, make sure you keep all your indoor plants outside. Let them take nice shower in rainwater, and this will work as magic. It works wonders for your indoor plants. Also, if it's not raining, suppose it's a sunny day or something, on weekly basis make sure you keep your plants, you give them nice shower. Take your plants to the washroom and give them nice shower, above the leaves, under the leaves, on stems, everywhere. This way all the excess dirt and dust will go off and the plants can breathe normally. Now coming to other parts of gardening basics things, which are pest control. No matter how much care you take to your plants, how much effort you're putting in growing them, still your plants will have pest attack. That is completely normal. So the very first thing that you have to do is keep your infested plant away from other plants. Keep it away. Remove the heavily infested leaves or stems. Cut them off, chop them off, throw it away so that it cannot spread to other plants. Then you can grow for organic pesticides. You can spray neem oil solution. You can choose neem oil with some soapy water, mix them well and spray thoroughly on the plants. You can spray your plants with this solution 2 to 3 times a week. And if this is not working, just in case if your plants have gone immune to, these pests have gone immune to this solution, you can try 3G pesticide. I have shared its video earlier, how to prepare 3G pesticide. This is completely organic pesticide. You need to take equal amount of green chili, garlic and ginger. Make a paste out of them and mix some water into it. Keep it for 24 to 48 hours and after that you can put more water into it. Make it dilute, just dilute it and then strain it out and use it as a spray on your infested plants. And this is tried and tested method. I have worked it on mealybugs and it's really effective. You can try this method. There are a few more things that comes to gardening basics, like you might have heard of dormancy period. So what is dormancy period? Plants dormancy period is the period or the time when plants stop growing further. They look stunned, especially during fall season or winters, and it happens to most of the perennial plants. So they will not show any sign of growth. There will be no further new shoots coming up, new leaves, nothing. The plant will look bit stunned, and you will think what's happening to the plant, it's not growing further. So at that dormancy period, you need to leave your plant as it is in its situation. Don't do anything to that plant. Don't do the pruning. Don't add fertilizers at their dormancy period. When the spring season comes, they'll start showing growth. Coming to the last point, which is grooming. Now you might be thinking, what is grooming in gardening? So grooming is basically removing all the dead yellow and dry leaves from the plant. Just chop off the dried branches and shape them up. Few plants need shaping also, like ficus and all. They need shaping up. They need cutting, pruning, trimming, and garden hedges and all. They need pruning, right? Regular pruning improves your plants better growth also, because more of new branches will grow. More branches means more flower buds and more flowers. So this is called as grooming. I think I have covered almost all the points. However, we will discuss each topic in detail in upcoming sessions. Alright, thank you so much for watching, and see you soon. Bye bye.